don't go out there and buy XYZ stock because somebody on TikTok told you to buy it. That is just completely ludicrous. And the reason is these people don't know you and they don't know your financial plan.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me.
Cory, what's new? You got anything new to share with our audience before we dive into today's topics?
I finally finished the book, James, Jake, that you read a while ago, and that was a really, really good book. It was the retelling of Huckleberry Finn from really the adventure from Jim's perspective. That was solid. I'm looking forward to our internal Falcon Wealth Advisors book club conversation about it.
Credit to my wife, Rachel. She threw that suggestion out at me, and then I threw it out at the book club. And yeah, it's fantastic. And it won a book award. It won Book of the Year.
I believe it.
And Rachel argues that it may win a Nobel Prize, or the author may, I guess. But I mean, awesome. Now, I wish the only thing if our audience is going to read it, I would encourage you to go back and read Huckleberry Finn first. Not that you need to, so you don't need to do that. But I was curious. Did the author really line up the storyline with Huckleberry Finn? And did he just change the perspective? Do you know? I don't remember, because I don't remember when I read Huckleberry Finn, or if I did even. I'm sure I probably was asked to. I don't know if I read it, but
yeah, good question. My perspective on it, this is all going from memory, Jake, but from the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and reading that previously.
You remember that?
Yes, absolutely. But I think that
Hold on. You want
to hear about that? You want to hear about Huck Finn?
When did you read Huckleberry Finn?
Gosh, for the first time? I don't know. I was
the latest time, the last time,
maybe college.
And you remember it?
Mm-hmm.
Why were you reading Huckleberry Finn in college?
I don't remember. That's a good question.
Part of your
I'm trying to think about
at
that.
UCM?
I'm trying to think about that. I'm like, where did I don't know if there was excerpts from it or what, but I feel very familiar with the story. And I felt like this book tracked like the first half of it, but the second half of the book was much, much different. Like the way that things actually played out in this book. So anyway.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's
you're welcome.
That's all I got. I had to cancel my golf trip, Cory. I was not going to go and get on a plane, fly to Houston, get on maybe the same or different plane, fly to San Antonio, after leaving Snowmageddon here in Kansas City, to go and play golf in 40-degree weather and rain. Not doing it.
All right, so you don't have the itch that much yet.
No. I'm very, very proud of this. I am a fair weather golfer. I am not trying to. Now, if I went to Scotland and it was 40 degrees and raining and I was playing St. Andrews, okay, I would probably do that, right? I'm not going to cancel my trip to Scotland, but I will cancel my trip to San Antonio all day long. So,
you know what? That's good for you.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I just can't. It's no fun. I'd much rather be here working.
I get it.
Snowmageddon,
I'm right there with you.
Taking care of my wife.
When you asked me about that, Jake, I was like, well, I'm pretty confident I would not be making that trip if that's what the weather was going to be when I got there.
I didn't do it. So you know what? We can record Upticks. That's what we're doing instead. So I'm happy to do it. I'm excited to do that. And I'm sure our audience is excited to hear that. So we had a couple things, Cory, before we go into today's topics. You had a listener suggestion. I'll let you go first here. Talking about porch pirates, right?
Yes. So a listener of the show here made a comment that Walgreens has a delivery pickup service for FedEx used for something that might need a signature, like if you're not at home. And he mentioned that he sends most packages to the office to avoid porch pirates for anything of real value, because it is a bigger problem now. and that Amazon has lockbox storage items at Whole Foods and other various places. Like I've looked before placing orders that there are destinations, basically you can send the package and then go pick it up, which I thought was a good comment, a useful comment, because it is a real issue that seemingly isn't going to just go away.
Yeah, thank you for that listener that shared that little fun fact there. So yeah, I didn't think about that either. Like, I think if you work in an office and you can send stuff there, that would probably be my preference. But if you don't and you're worried about porch pirates, maybe you use one of those lock boxes. It's not a bad idea.
And it might be a way to save a little bit of money that you might spend on the porch pirate insurance, which Jake, I
Yeah.
think is what we talked about on the show, which is what kind of sparked that in the first place.
Yeah. Again, you and I aren't big fans of insurance. So yeah, it might be a way to dodge that.
Yep. And did you want to talk about RSUs today also, Jake?
Well, I got another one actually.
Okay.
I don't know if RSUs, did I put that in here?
I saw that in the
I
document.
skipped it. I skipped it. All right, let me talk about something else and then I'll talk about RSUs. So
All right, let's do it.
this is another listener comment I wanted to bring up. And this is a quote. He says, hearing you guys talk about Warren Buffett on Upticks, just thought I'd mention that he enjoyed reading, or he actually listened to his biography, Snowball, Warren Buffett Business Life. It's less about becoming more financially savvy, although there could be some of that in there, but more just interesting to get to know his story, personality, and thought process. He might even have qualified as a tightwad, Cory. Tightwad. At one time. Tons of great books out there, so no pressure to read, but I thought I'd pass this one along. I appreciate that. Obviously, I'm a big reader. I like biographies, although what happened, Cory, is I got a huge roadblock. I started reading Titan. Have you read that one?
The Rockefeller one, no.
It's huge. This thing.
It's on a list for me to read one day, Jake.
This
but
thing. So Chernow wrote it, and Chernow is
Yep.
like this famous author that writes these wonderful biographies, and it is wonderful. But I'm telling you, Cory, that print is small and that book is big. And that's probably one.
Yeah.
That's probably one. He mentioned that he listened to it. That's a good idea. Maybe I should buy Titan on audio and listen to it. That because I really enjoyed reading it, but I stopped because it's just so long and like the print, the type is so small. You're probably too young to worry about it, but I mean the words are tiny.
No, I know exactly what that's like.
And there's a lot of them. So,
Yeah.
anyways, all right. Before we get into today's topics, one more thing, Cory. Thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to talk about restricted stock units.
Yes.
This is an area that Falcon Wealth Advisors particularly has a lot of experience in. And basically, these are company awards that typically get offered to you in the form of a future vesting schedule. So they may say, Cory, you did a great job. We're going to give you 1,000 shares of Falcon Wealth Advisors, and it'll vest over 3 years. So basically, you get a third over the next 3 years. And companies will do this in lieu of bonuses very often. The reason I wanted to bring it up today is that I want to encourage our audience to build. If you do have RSUs, I want you to build them into your financial plan, not because you have to use them for retirement, but that way you have a strategy and a plan around them, and that we can do proper tax planning along with financial planning and budgeting. So maybe you're like, you know what? I use my RSUs every year for vacations or when I need a new car or whatever. That's fine. I'm not suggesting you need to use them for retirement. I'm suggesting you need to have a plan for those RSUs. Don't just know that they're there. Plan around the taxes and plan around what you're going to do with the stock. And maybe you hold on to the stock. Maybe you don't sell it at all. And that's okay too. So again, you just need to have a plan. That's a big part of what we do for our clients. We've worked many years with many clients that have many shares of their restricted stock in their companies. And our team is well equipped to help you talk about it. That's what I wanted to bring up today. Cory, you have anything you want to add on that real quick?
No, I think it's good. Well, the only thing that I want to add to that, Jake, is the fact that the more thoughtful it is and in the inclusion in your financial plan is just what can help you make better decisions. So I think that your point here is well taken. And I agree with you. Like you've said, the money doesn't all need to be used for retirement, but having a plan for the taxes is important. And it's something that just inherently you're not going to know what the plan's going to be without being thoughtful about understanding it.
Right.
It's not just inherently simple. So good.
That's good. All right, Cory. Let's kick it off. Let's play ball. Let's do it.
All right, Jake. Our first headline today, one man's attempt to get a perfect 850 credit score.
All right, Cory, do you want to share your credit score with the potential millions of people watching this right now? What's your credit score? You're going to share it?
820.
Whoa. 820?
820.
Look at you, bragger.
How about that? You asked me to share it.
I don't know what mine is. It's probably a plus or minus 800 if I had to guess. But here's the article. basically it's this from the Wall Street Journal, and it talks about this guy is trying to get a perfect 850. And the article highlights, Cory, that while a perfect score is mostly, like I joked about, bragging rights, it requires years of discipline, including consistently paying your bills on time, maintaining a low credit utilization ratio. The article also talks about how a small percentage of Americans actually achieve a perfect score, but having very good credit, which is 760 or above, is usually sufficient. So I want to talk about pros of having an extremely high credit score, or 850, would be lower borrowing costs, right? So if you get a high credit score, your mortgage or your credit card rates even could be lower. So credit to that person, or credit to you, Cory. That's your borrowing rates are lower. What's a con of focusing on this?
I think there's a limited practical benefit beyond just having a high score. I don't know if there's real actual benefit to have a perfect score versus a very good one.
Yeah. I mean, 820 versus 810, I don't think it matters, but maybe
versus
it does.
840, right.
And I love this other pro, though. Again, financial discipline. So achieving a perfect credit score demonstrates strong financial discipline and responsibility. So again, maybe you have a problem with discipline, right? And maybe you are lackadaisical about paying your bills on time. Maybe having this goal, maybe your credit score, Cory, is 600, right? Or whatever. Maybe you have a goal for 2025. It's like, you know what? I want to get that to 760, right? So you know what? I'm going to have a very intentional approach to paying off debt and doing all the right things. And so it can help you set a goal to achieve that. And in the end, you'll be disciplined. So I think that is a good reason to strive for a higher credit scores, to get financial discipline. There's another con.
Yeah, just the time and effort, right? I mean, I guess it requires a lot of years of consistent financial behavior, which can be hard for people. And that I think, I still think you want a higher score, but again, that is the time and effort required to boost that score up in and of itself is, a downside.
Right. Like if my score was 790, Cory, I'm not going to go spend hours of figuring things out to get it to 800. I'm just not. I'm not.
Right.
Now, if I was getting ready to go buy a house and my mortgage lender told me, "Hey, your credit score is a little light, like you should probably look at that," then I definitely would, right? But unless I'm going to make a big picture, I don't really care about my credit score too much.
Right.
A big purchase. Unless I'm going to make a big purchase, my credit score
Yeah, when
doesn't
you're going to
really.
borrow money, usually is when it matters. I
Yeah.
think though, I do want to share here real quick though, Jake, because of the point you just made, a quick personal anecdote.
Yeah,
So
please.
when I was in college, Jake, I remember it was either a Macy's or a Nordstrom. And I remember I was applying to get a credit card, and it was because I was going to buy a Christmas gift for my college girlfriend. True story. And I got rejected. I got rejected from the credit card. And I remember I was probably, I don't know, 18 or 19 years old.
How
And I
embarrassing.
remember I know. Yeah. Imagine that. Right. And I remember understanding what the credit score actually was and then doing a little bit of research about what was considered a good score. And no joke, Jake, that day I remember telling myself, I was like, this is the last time this is going to happen. Now that I understand what
Good.
influences this, I'm just going to bring awareness to trying to do better. So my point though
Good.
is like,
Good. You turned a negative into a
the lesson I
positive,
learned.
Cory. You turned a negative into a positive. Good for you. And there should be no embarrassment. That was a joke. Like it happens.
No,
And
no,
you
it
get
did happen.
declined.
It did.
But
I have
good
no
for
shame
you.
there.
You learned your lesson at a young age. Good for you. That's fantastic. All right,
Thank
good.
you.
All right, good. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. Before we move on to the next one, quick commercial, Cory. Again, thank you so much to all of our audience out there. Our subscriber counts continue to grow. Our downloads and listens and views and all that stuff continues to grow. And please just remember, the purpose of Upticks is to enhance financial literacy. So we appreciate those 5-star reviews, the thumbs up, however you can help us get Upticks out there to more people. As you notice, we're not selling anything on the show here, right? We're not pitching any products. We're doing it to enhance financial literacy. So please like and share our content. Share it with your loved ones, your coworkers, your friends, your family. And you know what? Maybe you share it with people you don't even like. You know, because then maybe you
Imagine
can help them out. Maybe you can help them out too in the process. All right, here we go,
turn the
Cory.
negative into a positive.
Turn a negative into positive. And if you want, real quick on that, quick humble plug here. If you want more content from me, I have been a lot more active on Instagram. Simply go out there and follow me, Jake_Falcon_CRPC. Give me a follow. I've got more content out there. We do share clips from Upticks out there also. So again, cool way to get more content. If you're on Instagram, check it out. Cory, I know you're out there on LinkedIn. Is kind of where you're most active. Make sure you're
That's right.
connected to Cory.
The way I see it is it's an opportunity to help because again, what we're talking about, Jake, like you've said here on the show, is financial education and literacy because it's just not taught elsewhere. And that's a mission of mine and yours.
Right. All right, good. Let's get to the next topic here, Cory. Here we
All
go.
right.
Cory, now you can avoid taxes like the rich and famous. Let's hear it.
How about that? All right. Jake, so the buzzword on Wall Street is to, quote, democratize everything that was once exclusively for sophisticated investors. And now tax avoidance is one of those. So I got to say, Jake, the clickbait headline here, now you can avoid taxes like the rich and the famous, it definitely got me. But I did read this article, and I will admit that it read like an advertisement for several brokerage firms and quant investment shops with both simple and sophisticated strategies that are becoming available for them to basically package and sell to retail investors through exchange traded funds or ETFs. So the author claims that technology could eventually allow the average Joe to optimize his tax bill with nearly the finesse of the yacht and the jet set crowd, Jake, because of the democratization of tax avoidance strategies, which, again, I don't know. But I want to get into this because I do want to talk about the rise of ETFs and specifically really just this article reading about these strategies that are designed to avoid taxes that are these, sexy investment products for people to buy. So I just want to talk about the pros and the cons to this. And I'll start, Jake.
Well, no, I got to talk about the cons, don't I?
Yeah, I'm going to let you talk about the cons. How about that? So
that's right.
The idea of democratization, of making, giving access to more people inherently I like, but
that's a pro then.
What's that?
You got to let me do the con. You can't do the con.
No, that's right. You're right. I do think that it is inherently, if there's more sophisticated financial tools that are inclusive for a larger audience, I think that's a positive.
All right, good. Can I do the con? You can let me do the con?
Please.
Sounds like you queue up articles that you don't want to do.
Yeah, wrong way.
You should think about that next week before putting an article on here, Cory.
You got it.
Again, so what Cory's talking about here is he's basically, to break this down a little bit, this article is saying that Wall Street is creating products and advertising them as tax-efficient investment vehicles. And again, the big con here is the complexity. And these strategies can be very complex, and it requires a deep understanding of tax laws and financial markets. So again, this is my big problem with this. Don't just buy a product with the goal of helping your taxes. Tax planning should be done exclusive of your investments. Like, you should have your investment bucket over here, but you shouldn't overlap them. It's almost like buying an insurance product for investments. That's how I feel that Wall Street's doing. It's like, let's buy this investment product for taxes. They should be separate. So go ahead, give another pro here to your article.
Yeah, I do think that those products, Jake, if you're reducing taxes, that's inherently going to increase investment returns.
Yes, absolutely. It could, again, depending on what type of account it's in, of course. But another con here is you have to understand that there could be regulatory changes. So as these strategies become more democratized, there's a risk that the regulators will step in and say, whoa, you guys are all exploiting a loophole here. We're going to close that loophole. And then it goes away. So you got to be careful with regulatory changes.
All right, one more pro here, Jake, and I do think that this is more broad, but it is definitely a pro that this just highlights the importance of taxes and investing, how the two of them go hand in hand, and ultimately the positive impact that proper tax planning and strategies can avoid.
Yes, and I ran into this the other day, Cory. This is an important part. I want to get a little quick side note here. I met with a potential client, and their advisor was doing, in my opinion, from what I saw, little to no tax planning. And it really bothered me because this potential client, has a very, very high need for tax planning. I mean, they have some good problems, but some serious problems coming down the pipeline that this advisor, in my opinion, was just ignoring. From what I saw, again, I wasn't in any of their meetings. So I don't know. I don't want to badmouth any advisor, but my point is, if your advisor is not offering tax planning for you and doing it on an annual basis, you need to ask them for it. And we do that at Falcon Wealth Advisors. Now, again, our clients, most all of our clients that are getting tax planning, they know to ask and check in with us. But if you're a client of our company and you're not getting it and you want it, just let your financial planner know. Say, hey, I want you to look at my taxes for 2025 or whatever, and just do some tax planning, because you're right. They do go hand in hand, and they should be complements of each other. They need to be exclusive because they are two separate things, but they need to both be addressed. Tax planning is very important. Again, this is a very and compliance. All of this. I am not trying to replace your CPA or your tax advisor. We're not giving tax advice. We're looking at how can we lower your lifetime tax bill. That's what we're trying to do, and then we're going to get the CPA to sign off on it, of course. And then the last con before we move on to the next topic, Cory, is a track record. So again, a lot of these products are new. So how do these products stand up when the market crashes? Like it's all fine and dandy to lower your tax bill, but are they going to underperform when the market's down? So at that point, people are going to not really care as much about the tax savings, Cory, if they're losing more money than the market. So again, there's not a big track record, so you got to be careful. I'm glad you shared this article, but again, just be careful. Don't buy a product to lower your taxes, in my opinion. You don't want to do that.
Yep, I think that's a great takeaway, Jake. Okay. Our next headline here, more men are addicted to the, quote, crack cocaine of the stock market.
Yeah. I got two personal stories about this.
All right.
So I think this was during whenever the meme stock, when was that going crazy? Was that during
the first January, February? Yeah.
So I'm not going to divulge who this is, but I got a friend that like called in, and this is third hand. Like I didn't talk to him directly, but I think he told my team something to the effect that he was just going to drink all day and trade meme stocks.
Okay.
And then I was at some sort of, I think it was like at a birthday party, and I talked to this gentleman about like what was he up to, what was he doing, and like I don't even know if we were talking about sports. It's like, oh, do you do sports betting now because it's legal in wherever it's legal? Where's it legal? Kansas? Like, do you do sports betting now? And he's like, no, I trade stocks instead of sports. So this is a real. My point is, Cory, this is a real thing. And you want to talk about a downside of democratization? This is it. This is it. So basically, it's saying that the nature of stock market trading is like crack cocaine for many people. You've got these apps out there that are designed that throw confetti when you make a trade, and they're almost like video games, but you're actually dealing with real money and real investments. And so these apps are smart. They're triggering dopamine to get people to use them more, like crack cocaine, right? They're becoming addictive. So I know, Cory, this is my article, so I've got to talk about the pros here. So I'll talk about the pro of these trading apps is that it is making it easy for anyone to get into the stock market. So again, people that a decade ago say, "Well, I don't have $1 million, so I don't have an advisor, so I don't invest in stocks." Now you can do it. You can do it a lot cheaper and a lot easier than a decade ago. What's a con?
The addictive behavior, Jake. The design of the apps is designed to lead to compulsive trading, which could result in financial loss and stress for people that take this route.
Yeah, and then another pro of these apps, Cory, is that the gamified features and real-time updates actually keep users engaged and informed. So, rather than the set it and forget it, the old dusty way of investing, like buy this stock and hold on to it for 40 years, Cory. Like now you can know when are earnings out, when was the dividend paid, what's the latest news, what's going on. So you're more educated as an investor because of the gamification of the app.
Yeah, I think a con though, Jake, is that does have the psychological impact, right? So all of those constant notifications can create pressure to trade. Frankly, that may not be the best thing. And it can cause anxiety and negatively affect mental health. I think that's very real.
Yeah. And I think there's another con on our list here, right? The FOMO.
Yes. Yeah. The social media influence, right? The integration with social media can just amplify FOMO or the fear of missing out, leading to impulsive and potentially harmful trading decisions.
Yes, and let me make a point here, Cory. You should never, and our audience hopefully knows this, but they might not. You should never, ever, ever take stock investing financial advice from social media. You should never do it. You should never do it. Don't do it. Don't. This roaring kitty out there, don't do it. Don't do it because here's the deal. You and I are on social media, right? And we talk about financial planning and investments, but there's a very nuanced difference here is that we are not giving advice on those platforms. We are talking about general information or restricted stock units. I'm not telling you whether to buy or sell them when I brought that up today. I'm telling you need to have a plan for them, right? So we share facts, our opinion, but not advice. Don't go out there and buy XYZ stock because somebody on TikTok told you to buy it. That is just completely ludicrous. And the reason is these people don't know you and they don't know your financial plan. They don't know your specific need. Now, if you want that advice, call my office and we'll tell you whether to buy or sell a stock. We will give you that advice, but the key is you don't want to take it from somebody broadcasting it to hundreds, thousands, or millions of people because it doesn't make sense. It's not good. And in fact, isn't it illegal according to our regulators? I don't know how many people get away doing it, Cory. That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with it. And there is, there's a lot, Jake, frankly, of the same era that you talked about, the meme stock era from just a few years ago, all kinds of legislation, basically, and suits that have been brought against people who were doing exactly what you're talking about. But the truth is, stocks that they were going online and telling people to buy, they were in a hurry to sell because they owned them themselves.
Shady. So shady and so wrong.
And that's the reason that, again,
wrong.
Someone on your screen is not the right person to tell you what you should buy and sell with your investments.
Right.
Because who knows what their track record, their history, or even their incentive is in the first place, because it might not be what's best for you.
Right. Right. So I'm on social media. I'd be a hypocrite if I say don't use social media to get information and education. Again, that's the whole point of Upticks, is to enhance financial literacy. And so when we're posting on Upticks or whatever, we're here for the sole purpose of educating, hopefully a little bit of entertainment and information. That's what we're doing. And that's how you should use social media. You should not use it for advice about your situation. You want advice, go to a professional, have a one-on-one conversation about your situation, your financial plan, your taxes, then get yourself some advice. Don't just take it from some schmuck that doesn't know who you are. It doesn't make any sense to do that. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Dave Ramsey, who's this guru who I don't really necessarily agree with everything he says. You shouldn't be listening or watching Dave Ramsey and then going and taking his advice and applying it to your situation, because everybody's situation is different. He's so big on paying off your mortgage, that might not make sense for you to pay off your mortgage. And if you go and do something because Dave Ramsey says it's okay, you could be screwing up your financial plan, literally doing permanent damage to your plan just because you think that's the right thing to do because some guru's out there saying you should. So again, you need to have a one-on-one. You need to work with a fiduciary, a licensed professional who does this for a living, especially works with a lot of people that are like you in your situation. That's what's great about you and I, Cory. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps meeting with clients, and our planners have, reps and reps and reps meeting with clients. So again, we see this stuff all the time, and that's why we're licensed and we're able to advise on it. So that's good. Good. Yep. A little rant there, Cory, on my one. We got time. Let's squeeze one more in here, Cory. Cory, I got one more for you here. Cory, 10 things no one tells people about retirement. Oh, here we go. Is this not a pro-con?
Yeah, this is good. So this one, Jake, it's not so conducive for the pro-cons, but I think I think we should talk about these items because this was a powerful post with some real life insights. Let me start there, Jake. So the author here likened retirement to a jailbreak and said that when people plan a prison escape, they are so focused on the act of getting out that they don't do much planning for when they're finally beyond the walls and they get caught and they go back.
That's good.
Yeah. But the point here is that in thinking about retirement planning, there's a lot more involved than just money. And these were 10 points that nobody would tell you. And the first one, Jake, and I just want to hear we can go back and forth on these. The first one is that retirement is empty. Retirement is a phase of life that doesn't inherently contain anything. So it's up to individuals to fill that with meaningful activities and pursuits.
Good one, Cory. You're right. Retirement is not a place. It's a state. So again, it is empty. I love that. You're right. Especially if you retire young and all of your friends are still working and your kids have their lives of their own, it can be very empty. Good. Let's go. I'll go to 2. We'll just ping pong. Is that all right?
Yep.
We'll run out of time here. All right. Number 2, beware of the dark side. Mental health issues such as depression and isolation are common in retirement. So it's crucial to prioritize mental well-being over financial concerns. And again, please, if you're listening or watching to this and you are depressed or anxious, go out there and get help. Go out there. There's a lot of people. There's therapists. There's hotlines. Lean on people to get help for yourself because it's a horrible thing, depression, and you can get help. But do you have thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I just think the dark side of retirement doesn't really necessarily show up in how much or how little money you have saved. It has a lot more to do with your mindset, your daily actions, your health, and your relationships. And I think that's the focus there. Number 3, Jake, the wrong top 10 list. So retirement is one of the top 10 most stressful life events, and many other stressful events can intersect with the retirement transition, making it a really challenging period.
Yeah, there is some nervousness and anxiousness that obviously goes along with retirement. And our job at Falcon Wealth Advisors is to alleviate a lot of those fears when it comes to the money side of it. And certainly we can introduce you to coaches if you're having other emotional or other fears along it. But you're right. That's funny. It isn't just a joyful, I guess what would be like, I guess like a holiday or a birthday is maybe less stressful than retirement. So that makes sense. All right. Number 4, retirement isn't a feeling. Relying on feelings to navigate retirement can be problematic. Concrete plans and actions are necessary to create a fulfilling retirement experience. This is what I talked about. I think it was last week, Corey. Plan that lunch. Like if you want to go lunch with some of your favorite coworkers once a month, you've got to put it on your calendar and you've got to plan it. You can't just say you want to do it. You need to get specific. And I would argue retirees should still have a schedule. They should still have a calendar and they should try to fill it up. But the good news is fill it up with things you want to do. Fill it up with things that are healthy or maybe make you some money or maybe it's just good for your community, give you fulfillment. But you got to make concrete plans. I like that one. What's number
Yep.
5?
All right, number 5 here is up and coming subtractions. So retirement involves significant trade-offs. And beyond just the trade-offs, Jake, it is the loss of routine, right? Is one of the trade-offs that people can lose. The social connections, mental stimulation. So finding replacements for those losses in retirement is essential.
Yeah, makes sense. Number 6, retirement doesn't eliminate work. It reorients it basically, right? So instead of having to go and sit in a cubicle or work from home or work on an assembly line, you now need to work on yourself. You need to work on your health, your relationships, your purpose, which to me, frankly, Corey, I work on that stuff and I work. So it'd be really cool for a retiree that that's all their focus is now and that they can double down on that. Because a lot of people let themselves go while working, which I get it. You're raising a family, you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Maybe you're a little overweight. Maybe you haven't eaten healthy. Maybe you've kind of lost touch with some of the relationships. Now's the time to work on all those things. And they all are work, but it should be the exciting type of work. That's good. What's
All right.
7?
Yeah, number 7 is the lost and found table. It's important to find a new social network and reconnect with past interests and aspirations to avoid feeling isolated and unwanted in retirement, which I think is really good because the reality is that, research has shown us that, active people with a strong social network are happier in retirement, have the ability to live longer, and it helps their health. But the point there is that, reuniting with some of the things that might feel like they were gone, but basically just reestablishing those connections is crucial.
Yeah, so dust off that. Think about when you were in school and what your favorite subject was, or what are some of your really good memories where you had a really good time, and that's how you got to get that lost and found back. Good life on the back burner. Simply having more time in retirement doesn't guarantee improved relationships or health. As past sacrifice, that's what I just talked about. As past sacrifices may have created collateral damage that needs to be addressed. So again, go to the doctor. Right, go to your general doctor and get a physical. I don't care if you're 70 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old. Go get a physical, check it out, make sure everything's good, and get on a plan to get your life back on that front burner. Good. We got 2
Yes.
more here, Corey.
All right, number 9, you're going to like this one, Jake. Stop saying retire to something.
Ooh.
Instead of planning to start new activities in retirement, it's better to continue existing habits and interests to smooth a smoother transition. And really, Jake, the author here, was saying that the issue with the advice to retire to something is that it gives people permission to procrastinate or hold off on becoming the best possible version of themselves. That you don't need to
Interesting,
wait until
Corey.
you retire to do that. You should start
Uh,
doing that right now.
oh, okay. I got it.
Just retire with something, not to something.
I see. I see. So if you keep delaying saying, I'm going to exercise once I retire, start exercising now.
Yeah, and then retire with exercise is part of what you do.
Ah, good one, Corey. All right, last one. We run out of time here. The only certainty in retirement is that it will eventually end. So it's
Mm.
important to avoid delaying important activities and create a no regrets retirement. That's good though, Corey. Like you've been wanting to go to Alaska, go to Alaska. I tell
Yep.
this to clients all the time. You want to go on a trip? Go on a trip. Let's plan it. Do it. What are you waiting for? If you can
Yes.
afford it, you should do it. Well, and obviously if you want to do it. But if you want to do it, if your financial plan supports it, stop waiting. Stop waiting. Let's do it.
That's really good, Jake. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that long list, Cory, right when we were trying to wrap up. So
Yeah, I know. I know. I should have maybe moved to a different one at the end of our show here, but good to talk about and bring awareness to.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Cory, as always, for joining me. And we hope all of you out there have a great week and stay warm.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.